Hey everyone, welcome to the Coding Zoo. If this is your first time joining, my name is Shane, and this is the HTML building block series. We go over one HTML lesson, one feature, one video at a time. In today's lesson, we're going to cover how to create HTML tables. This is lesson number 11. We're going to cover how to create tables with captions, rows, columns. We're going to go over column span and go over a little bit of CSS to kind of pretty the tables up. So if that interests you, hey, stick around. We're going to jump right into it. Hey, babe.
Hey,
It was a good movie?
pretty good.
What'd you see?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Because I don't know it's Teen Titans.
Teen Titans. I bet you it was good. All right, let's get started. So on my desktop, I have an HTML file. It's index.html, and it has a link to a style sheet, style.css, and my little dog Bella is running around here like a crazy rabbit. Remember to definitely feel free to stop the video and code along as I code along. So it will help you to remember what we're talking about. If you don't have time to do that, we also will have the files for download. Usually they're out on the website, thecodingzoo.com, within a week or two of the video being published. Well, let's go ahead and jump in. So we're going to create what's called an HTML table. Back in the day, before we had powerful CSS, styles and style sheets, positioning of different items on the page used to be done with tables. We'd have tables that had rows, and those rows had columns, and within those tables we'd have more tables and more tables, and that would kind of just move stuff around. You put a table here, and put stuff here, have a row, column, move stuff around. Don't do that anymore. So we definitely have gotten smarter there. Tables these days should only be used for organizing, displaying data that it naturally comes in a table format. Like if you have Office Excel, you have a spreadsheet and you have data in a table format. Well, you can do the same thing with HTML tables. It should be used only for displaying that kind of data. Don't go back to the old ways of using it for positioning stuff around on the screen. Use CSS for that. Let's create a table. So the HTML element is called, well, you guessed it, table. So T-A-B-L-E. Put my end tag table. And first thing I want to do is I'm going to add a caption. So the caption element allows you to put a title at the top of your table. You don't have to use this element. It's optional. And now I'm going to go and create my first row. So TR stands for table row. So I have less than, TR greater than, and you've probably learned in the previous lessons, an element has a beginning and an end tag. TR is the beginning. The end would be a /TR. And there's a row. And I'm going to add columns into my row. Well, TD is what specifies a column. So I'm going to add 2 columns. Okay, I'm going to cut and paste this to save time. I'm going to have 3 rows. So I have a table, it has a caption, and I have a row, another row, and another row. And these rows have 2 columns in each row. All right, so my first column, I am going to put a name of one of our playlists. And I'm going to put total number of videos thus far. Got a lot more coming, so hit that subscribe, check it out. And the second row, I am going to add another one. We have 5 series total. I'm just going to put 3 here. Okay, CSS playlist is kind of lacking. We need to fix that soon. We only have 3 videos there. All right, so I have a table. It has a caption, it has 3 rows, and each row has 2 columns. Very simple. So I'm putting stuff in a table format, and a table has rows, rows have columns, spreading that data out. So I'm going to click save, and I'm going to click refresh, and there we go. So I have this table. Here is the caption, and here are my columns. Let's go ahead and put a border around it so we can see this more clear, and let's kind of space it out some. So I'm going to go over here to the style sheet. So I'm going to add a border. We're also going to add a header in a few minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and put a style for it too. So table header is a TH tag, comma TD. Let's put a border. So border is the CSS property. I'm going to make it 1 pixel. I want it to be a solid border, and I want it to be the color associated with DDD, the hex DDD. All right, now if you're not familiar with how to specify colors, check out our CSS series playlist. There is a whole video on that. It's pretty neat. Check it out. All right, let's go ahead and click save, click refresh. There we go. So now we have some borders around it. You see my caption up here. You see my columns, 2 columns, and you can see my 3 rows there. Let's go ahead, and you see how there's 2 borders between 2 lines between these columns. And there's 2 lines between these rows, and another 2 lines between these rows. Let's kind of go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to add another CSS property to the whole table. Let's add border collapse. So I'm going to collapse those 2 borders to 1. Click save, refresh. There we go, down to 1. See how things are kind of scrunched up here? Well, it's hard to read, right? Let's go ahead and use CSS and space that out. Let's add a little padding inside of the table. So margin is space on the outside of a block element, and padding is the space on the inside. So we want to add a little padding on the inside. Save, refresh. There we go, nice and spread out. Okay, so I have a table with a caption. My data is in table format. It has rows and columns. It's hard to tell one row from another, so let's change that up a little bit. I'm going to change the colors of each row depending upon whether they're the first or second row, or odd or even row. Let's add some CSS for that. TR for table row, and I'm going to do nth. So n is any number, right? So nth child. And I'm going to say even background color, and let's do F2, F2, F2. Can you tell I picked these colors out beforehand because I don't even remember what they were called, but they're nice colors. All right, let's close that. Let's save it. Click refresh, and there we go. So every other row is going to be a different color. So the first row is white, second row is this color. Let's change it up some more. I want to add one more row here that kind of totals these items up. And I don't need it to be 2 columns. I just want 1 row with 1 column. How would I do that? There is an attribute, an HTML attribute called column span. Let's add another row. TR, TD, column span equals 2. Close that column off, and I'm going to put total, and my total videos are 33 plus, actually about 80 counting the other playlist. All right. Click save, click refresh, and there we go. So this allowed me to add 1 row and to make 1 column, to turn those 2 columns into 1 column. Pretty neat stuff. You can also do this with rows. There's a way to do the same thing with rows. I use column span to turn 2 columns into 1 column. You can do that with any number of columns. You can do the same thing with rows. You can use on the TR tag, you can use row span to make one row be multiple rows deep or tall, however you want to look at it. Okay. Let's say I wanted to highlight the row where my cursor is at. Let's add a little CSS for that. Make it nice and clean. So I'm going to add another TR tag. So I'm selecting all TR tags. Now keep in mind, if you had more than one table in your application, you probably don't want to use element selectors or type selectors. You probably want to use like a class name, a CSS selector by class. All right, so I have TR hover, background color, and let's make it D. Click save, click refresh. Now if I hover with my mouse, it should change colors. There we go. Check it out. Nice. Okay, so the Coding Zoo playlist caption there, it's kind of dull looking. Let's go ahead and change that real quick. Change my caption style. I'm going to change the font weight to bold. And I'm going to change the color. Hey, why not? Let's make it red. Okay, so the table seems a little bit off because if somebody comes to the website and they look at this page, they really won't know what this column is about and what these numbers are about. So let's add a table header. You can do that by creating a new row and adding a table header tag. Let's do that. So I'm going to go underneath my caption. I'm going to add a new row. I'm going to add a table header. So it's just like TD, but it's table header, TH. All right, let's call it name. And video count. Click save, click refresh. All right, there we go. Name and video count. It looks kind of off. Let's put some CSS around it. Let's go up here. I'm going to add some more CSS around the table header. Let's add some background color. Let's add some color for the fonts. I'm just going to make it white. There we go. So I have name and video count, and the table is called the Coding Zoo playlist, and it should be pretty obvious now what this table is all about, what the data is inside of it. I have 3 rows, 1 row for each video. They have the name and we have the video count, and my bottom row is a column span of 2, and it has the total number of videos listed. Pretty neat, pretty simple, pretty cool stuff, pretty easy to do. You can put all kinds of CSS around the table to not make it nice and cleaner. You can put more padding, more space, more margin, all that good stuff. Change the colors up. You can really spice your table up. Won't go into more details on the CSS, but I just wanted to give you a general idea. How do you make tables? How do you do rows and columns and table headers? How do you add a caption and column span and row span? So hope that makes sense. It's pretty easy. If you have any questions, hey, don't be afraid to ask. Leave me a message below. I will get back to you. Our goal at Coding Zoo is to have others learn how to program. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button below. If you haven't subscribed yet, click subscribe, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Have a great week. Where's my coffee? Gotta have my coffee. Test. I think it's working. I'm such a geek. Ah, more coffee. All right. Let's get to work.